Okay, members and friends, I just had the ministry there come and serve me again. Serve me this time. Something to do with canceling the order here. Okay? The judge already made an appointment for May 21st. Okay? So, I wouldn't take it. I told him to give it to my lawyer. He said, oh, well, he's just a delivery guy, right? He just put it down on the ground for me. It's a joke. If this isn't psychological warfare, what is it? Okay, members and friends. I just got served. Today is the 16th. It was at 5 o'clock or so. Right? Social Services has been hunting around for my daughter all day. I'm having people call my house for her. She was in the shower. She wasn't home at one point, but she left again. So I guess they want to serve her, right? It's always a big rush 8 or 5 days before court. This happened when it was 4 months into the thing, right? That's when she came to my house, right? Let me in, let me in. And I'm saying, well, my daughter's sick, right? Go away. Anyway, I went to the Supreme Court on the 13th, right here. It says, in the Supreme Court of British Columbia, Judy Lynn Chorney, Ministry of Children and Family Development. I started the forms, okay, to order to waive fees because I don't have enough money to pay, right? And because I didn't put documents in, right, I had to figure out going upstairs to the library, print out my own forms, and, you know, and because I didn't add documents onto it to put it in front of a judge to get it waived, right, so that I didn't have to pay for that, nothing came of it. Now there's going to be, like, the video in front of this is outside of the courthouse and I'm talking. So I'm just going to add this right in with this one because this just happened, this right here. But I've already been talking about it. They're trying to take me off my daughter's file. Now if they take me off my daughter's file and they're actually successful at doing that, what's going to end up happening is I'm not going to qualify for a lawyer. They're trying to put it off into a trial with me, right? Because then, you know, they can keep them, right? The longer they can fight with me and everything else and, you know, be problematic and, you know, to me it's psychological warfare, right? The longer they can keep them. And the longer they can keep them, sooner or later they're going to get their favorite judge and they're going to say to that judge, well, you know, we've had the baby now for 1.5 years or a year and, you know, he's completely forgotten about his family and he doesn't know them anymore. So, you know, let's just, you know, keep him for a little while longer until, you know, we just maximum amount under where it says right there that, you know, we have to do it this way. Never mind, we didn't do all the other stuff we were supposed to do. You know, that stuff wasn't important, right? What's important is just get to the end game. The longer they can stall it, you know, in 1.5 years, a year, up to 2 years max, I think 24, after 12 months, we're into the 6th month. So if they can stall it for another 6 months, you know, get me off my daughter's file, isolate me by myself, so I'm running off to the Supreme Court trying to explain to the judge with my funky documents because they didn't give me very much. They sure in the hell didn't give my daughter very much. So, I suppose it's formality, you know, on their part. I wouldn't touch it. I told the guy I ain't touching it. Give it to my lawyer. I have one now. He just ignored me. He just said, no, I'll put it down on the ground, right? So you've seen that. And now my daughter, you know, I need to make this clear. 6 months she'd been kicked out of the house. She came back in at the end of January because her boyfriend got kicked out of his recovery house. And his stuff ended up in my garage for a few, you know, weeks, and I took it, and he brought it back. We know that story, right? In the meantime, my daughter was downstairs for a bit. Finally, that stopped, right? And now she was upstairs. So she's been with me since the end of January. So that's like 5 months, right? 4 months. And it's been pretty rough. But I've been pretty faithful at getting her to her methadone, you know. It's not working as well as I'd like it to. Because, you know, I ask her, why are you doing drugs if you're doing methadone? Like, why can't you stop the drugs? I don't want to. I'm depressed. You know, blah, blah, blah. I like the way it feels. Leave me alone. Fuck off. Okay. But at least I know she's getting the methadone, right? Sometimes she forgets because she doesn't come home, right? But it's been fairly regular. And, you know, I house her. She didn't pay her rent this month. She spent it because she was saving her money for the rehab that never came through. So, of course, by the end of the month, She realized it wasn't coming through, so she spent it. So I basically looked after her this month for nothing. I've done that twice. Although she did make an effort to pay me the first time she did that through the family allowance that was taken away from social services, because now the foster caregiver has that. So the federal government took away my daughter's family allowance for that 1 month that she actually gave me to pay for rent, which helped to pay for Andre's room, right? Because she had spent her money. And now she owes the federal government money because they took that money and took it off her GST now. Okay? And now they're giving it to the foster caregiver, right? Because she's a better person than I am. You know, she knows what she's doing. So, point is I went. Now, I talked to a duty counsel that thought she was a judge. And I ended up saying to her, well, are you the judge? Like, why are you talking to me like that? Like, that's not for you to make that judgment. Oh, don't be suing the government because, you know, you sue the ministry, you're not going to win. You know, it's just, you're just going to end up owing them lots of money. I said, well, do I care? What are they going to do? Take the nonprofit away from me? Take the trademark away? They've basically made it so nothing can come out of it anyway. You know, all I am is in debt because of, you know, a preconceived idea of what charity means in Canada, which is a fucking joke when you're dealing with governments that are corrupt and workers that are corrupt. You know, because these are all middle-class professional people, union sector, private, or not, public sector workers. The courts are public sector workers. Maybe the lawyers get hired on individually as individuals in their own practices, and they can pick and choose their clients. But when it comes to legal aid, they're public sector workers. Any person that works within legal aid and within court registries and all that, and even when a person steps up to be a duty counsel, they're not supposed to come in with their own biases and try and convince you not to do something, right? And argue with you over paperwork and, you know, and just being rude, because she was kind of rude, right? Like, this is serious. This is my grandson, and she's telling me just to go away. Forget it. You know, it doesn't mean anything. It's, you know, unimportant. But I started, and after the 21st, if I'm not satisfied with the results, I'm going back, with or without a lawyer. I have no recourse. Now, I'm getting sick. I have a headache every day now for been over a week. But then that's what these people want. You know, they want to make you sick. Because if they didn't, they'd be working with you. And they can use the videos as the excuse not to work with me. But you know what? At the end of the day, it was the social workers that set my daughter up to go out there and fail. And it was the social workers that made me put my grandson with threats into daycare, knowing that they were going to take him away, because they did. That's a fact. They did. And then I'm supposed to what? Just show up and, yes, master. You know, let me give you what you want. You want his clothes. You want. And then you treat me like you treated my daughters and the mother when it came to visitation. But you can't have any of that. All you have is videos. Me documenting what's been going on. And so therefore, that makes you think you can say, the director is seeking, this is a 24, 25, 26-year-old woman that's being egged on by her supervisors, right? Telling me, raise 5 kids, you know, I can work with a large number of kids.
As if this social worker knows anything.
As if the social worker knows anything.
Doesn't even have kids of her own.
Doesn't even have kids, not one.
Has no experience whatsoever with children. Hasn't gone through infancy, toddlersy, preteen, teens, and adulthood with them.
No, I have though.
Exactly, you have, but this woman hasn't.
No, but let me read what she wrote. The director is seeking an order that the order made on April 9th, which she refused to come to, right along with my daughter's lawyer, even though my daughter's lawyer, you know, she asked him to come. She specifically said to his face, "Can you come?" But he had other things to do. He couldn't make it that day. By the Honorable Judge Raven, that the CFCSA matter, which is my daughter's case, right? Because it has to do with the children and family, you know, whatever, with the social workers, right? And then the FRA, which is the family relation, which is mine, right? And the Family Law Act matter, which is mine, right? Be heard at the same time, because that judge put the two of us together and asked where the social worker was and asked where Sierra's lawyer was. And Sierra and I both stood there and said, well, you know, the social worker was served. She knew, and she just chose not to come because it's her right not to. She doesn't have to if she doesn't want to. And as for the lawyer, in the end, the excuse was he didn't get paid for it, so therefore he didn't show up. But he never did say that to his client. It was the receptionist that relayed that message to me. So now whether that's true or not, I don't know. Maybe he just chose not to because, you know, his agenda is his agenda. And we're not really too sure. Because now, here's a new thing. This is his response that he sent back. Oh, let me just finish reading this first. Okay? Be heard at the same time. That file and my file, her file and my file, be read at the same time, heard at the same time. Be canceled. Okay? Given that it is the director's position, the 24-year-old that just got out of college, that's being instigated by our supervisors, mainly within one office. But being that this is getting really controversial, I'm sure, you know, there's external outside sources because it's a form of gang stalking going on here. That's a new word I just learned. I just learned that last week. That it is not in the child's best interest. So, the 24-year-old is saying it's not in the child's best interest to have me with my daughter, who I've been chasing around and getting to the doctor and making sure that she's been getting methadone for the last, you know, 5 months, at least, right after Christmas. As soon as January 7th, 8th, 9th came along, that was it. Right? I could get her to her methadone. From the 11th up until January 7th, I couldn't get her to a methadone because there were no doctors in Surrey. And the one time I had an opportunity, because I was looking after my grandson at that time, to take her downtown, to go downtown, a 45-minute ride just to get her methadone, I had to go see the supervisor and the social worker, right? Because the supervisor was going on holiday, so I had to go see, right, with Sierra. So I couldn't take Sierra downtown. So I met Sierra there. And it was pretty raunchy because they set her up because she hadn't had methadone since the 11th, and that was on the 21st. So for 10 days, she didn't have, well, that's not true because I gave her last dose here when I dropped off her clothes outside of legal aid because she had no place to go, and so she had a little bag that she went to some woman that she knows from back in the day, which didn't help her. Okay? So this person doesn't think that I'm the best interest of my grandson. This person doesn't think that the aunties, the ones that helped to raise him and look after him and teach him and nurture him and love him and show him things to, like, plant flowers and make food and, you know, go swimming and play in the park and stuff like that. This person thinks that this is not good for him. Well, it's pretty obvious, right? Because the last visit was March 14th for my children. And
not
it was
even me, it was for Tisha. My last visit was February, around February 15th or something.
Okay. For my 17-year-old, it was February 15th.
Around that.
Okay, for my 15-year-old, it was March 14th, and by the 21st, they just canceled them completely. And then from April 3rd on, my daughters have been canceled completely. So they obviously don't value family, they don't value tradition, they don't value heritage, they don't value home education, they just don't value anything other than a power trip. Right? They have not been helping my daughter. I've been helping my daughter. I've been driving her every week to get her methadone. Hell, this Thursday I had to go into an environment I didn't want to go into to go get her out so I could go take her to her methadone so she wouldn't miss the script. Because if she misses the script, then it's like a week of nothing. And that's how the government controls these people. You know, they know that if they don't get their methadone, they're going to go look for freaking heroin. And once they're junked up on the needle, oh, they're just laughing. That's why they don't do nothing about all these kids out here drug addicted, because they're the next fucking generation of a paycheck down the line. I could never really figure it out. When my kid was, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, nobody cared. And then my daughter wasn't out there by herself. There was 20 kids out there running around doing methamphetamines and shit, and the cops didn't fucking do anything about it. Social workers weren't fucking doing anything about it. The people that were perpetrating that shit got away with it, and they used their kids as an attractant to attract other kids. But all those people are losing their kids today, including my daughter. So it's a cycle. So, anyway, it looks like, see, I got this here. It says by Crown. Just got a reply now. My daughter can't read and write very well. And because she has been getting methadone, fairly regular, almost every day, right? She's cognitive, some days she's not, depending on what she's doing, if she's tired, sick, whatever. But, there are times when she realizes what's going on, right? So she depends on me to write certain things for her because she can't do it. Just like she depends on me to read things for her because she really can't do it. So I go out of my way. I write a letter of resignation because initially my daughter didn't even want this guy as a lawyer. But her application to put a change of lawyer in was denied. She got stuck with him. And then she comes back and says, well, I don't really like him, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, Sierra, just settle for something right now because, we got to move on with this. Hey, let's just give the guy a chance. So we gave him a chance. But over a period of time, listening to his receptionist and just the way she talked and, how she tried to flip the script on Sierra like it was all Sierra's fault. And, Sierra needs to take some responsibility. But at the end of the day, she got kicked out in the middle of fucking winter in a snowstorm. Okay? With threats of violence. Okay? That's the bottom line. And, his interaction with the family was,
Slim.
Yeah, slim. And, over a period of time, people can only put on a mask on for so long, right? And so anyway, he's got himself down here as defense. All of a sudden, he's defensive. So what, is he defending my daughter against the mother that's been taking her to methadone every freaking week for the last 6 months, trying to keep her on track so that she can get better and be a mom to her baby because I love my daughter and I love my grandchild and I love my children?
Wait.
I
want to, after you're done this, I want to tell.
Well, come and tell.
No.
Sit down now.
I had a dream this morning about what happened with Andre.
Tell it now.
Okay.
How long is this? 17 minutes. Hurry up.
Wait.
No. What are you doing?
I just want to look at myself.
Oh, okay.
Andre does not remember us.
I know he doesn't.
That's the first thing.
No, he doesn't.
My dream first started with being in the office where we initially had visitation with Andre in the little room with all those broken toys, and surprisingly, you were there. You were there, and Andre wasn't there. Christina was in the other room, and you and me were talking. Sierra was there, and we were all talking about how these social workers put the families and children in these rooms with toys that we can't even play with because they're broken. So, my mom, in my dream, initially wanted to go tell Christina that the ministry needs to start, if they're going to make us do visitation, they need to start putting in at least toys and coloring material that we can use.
I was actually going to make a donation before they took Andre away.
Exactly.
I was.
And in my dream, I pushed my mom away. I said, I'll do it. So I walk into Christine's office, which is just right across from the visitation room, and I tell her, look, every toy in that room technically is broken. This is actually real life, because I've been in that room with Andre several times with Sierra and Tisha. You can't color on anything. There's no paper. The TV's broken. Movies don't work. Toys are broken. Cars are broken. Everything is broken. And in my dream, I go into Christina's room, and I tell her that she needs to start putting in some toys that we can actually play with. And she's just telling me that it doesn't matter and it's not her responsibility. And then I remember vividly telling her that this is, MCFD, right? This is MCFD.
Ministry of Children and Family
If you expect us to be in a room with a child, then at least have something in that room that we can use. And in my dream, this woman was just disrespecting me and degrading everything I said, and as if it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Well, she's been treating you like that.
So I asked her in my dream, where's your supervisor? And she said, the supervisor is in the next room. And then she started arguing with me, telling me that I'm never going to get Andre back and that we need to get rid of the lawyer. That's what she said to me in my dream. We need to get rid of the lawyer. And I said to her in my dream, we will never stop until Andre comes home. And then I asked her, where is he? I asked her, where is he? How is he doing? Because I haven't seen him since February, around February 15th. It's now March, no, it's now May 16th. Yeah. So,
2 months.
Almost 2.5 months I haven't seen my nephew. And she says in my dream, this is all she says, he's okay. I said, he's okay? And I said in my dream, because my sister, the last time my sister seen him, Sierra, April 3rd, she had said that Andre, since he's been in foster care for 6 months, almost 6 months, he hasn't gained a thing. Which is true, because every time I've seen him, he doesn't get bigger. And if Sierra seen him on April 3rd, the last time she's seen him, he hasn't gained anything.
In 4 months.
In 4 months.
That's because it's called separation anxiety. He's failing to thrive, and they don't want to acknowledge it.
And I said that to her. I said that to Christina. My nephew hasn't gained anything since he's been in the care of this foster caregiver. And she said that he's fine and everything else. Then I see the woman, the foster caregiver, outside Christina's window. And she's standing on the road, and she's calling Andre like this to cross the street. So I go outside, and I run to Andre, and I pick him up, and I hold him to my face like this. And I say, Andre, Andre, it's me, May, and he's just looking like this. And I kept telling him, it's me, May, Andre. And I started saying Nana.
It's
I
called
started saying Tisha.
psychotropic drugs,
I started
right?
saying Nana. I started saying Tisha. You know how he usually says
Yeah.
Tisha, Nana,
Yeah.
Nana, Mark Cameron. He didn't say nothing.
No, well, that's
he didn't
because
even
they've been
repeat after
drugging
me.
him up. They've been doing
He couldn't
easy.
say my name, nothing. He was just looking blank, Mom. He was just looking
Well,
blank.
yeah, because he's got a blank brain
Then
now.
I take him, and I go to the foster caregiver, and I tell her, you need to stop feeding him so little food because he doesn't weigh anything. He feels like, I picked him up in my dream, and he weighed like a feather. He was skinny. And she's sitting there, and she has her daughter next to her in the passenger seat. And there was another young girl in the back seat, and then Andre's car seat was right there. And they're all laughing at me, and I'm holding my nephew on my hip, telling this woman that she needs to take better care of Andre if she's going to be taking care of him right now. Okay. And then she started telling me that she doesn't need to give him all this food and everything else. And I'm like, that's not the point. That's not the point. You're giving him the minimal amount, and he's not growing. He's not growing at all.
No, he's not.
So they start fighting with me in this car, and they start laughing at me, and then this woman grabs Andre out of my hand, and I go to grab him back, and then he all of a sudden turns into a rabbit. Andre turns into a rabbit, and this foster caregiver grabs him by the back hind, the back hind, you know, like this part right here,
Yeah.
and she just picks him up like this. Just picks him up like this. And then it starts, you know how it hurts when you pick up an animal like that?
Yeah.
It starts squealing and it starts
Yeah.
moving around. And Andre just turned into a rabbit. He just turned into a rabbit. And then I was freaking out. And then Christina comes and I said, I want my nephew back. Like, look at this. This is wrong. This is wrong. And they're all just laughing at me.
I know, but you can't go to court and listen to a 15, 20-minute, I don't know what it was, because you're too young for that. You're too young to listen to a judge and a defense lawyer and a prosecutor lawyer with the Ministry of Children and Family Development. And you're too young to listen to Christina lie about how she didn't promise Sierra how she can take the baby with her, right? Because the judge said, well, are you going to take the baby? She said, no, I'm not going to let her take the baby. Well, you know, talk to Sierra about that one. She'll put you in place, because as far as she's concerned, she was taking the baby. Because that's the only reason she's even wanting to talk to Christina, because she wants to go with the baby. But then Sierra's drugged out when she's not taking her methadone, and they know that. That's why they left it so long. Now, they're probably mad that I'm helping Sierra get her methadone every week and trying to keep her somewhat stable, right? They don't like that. Because, you know, if she's not having me drive her, who's going to drive her? She's not going to get there on her own on a bus. Hell, I had to go into the freaking fucking crack shack just the other day and get her out, just to take her to the doctor. You think I want to go in those environments? No. But that's what social services has done. That's where they brought it. And now they're going to swoop in 5 days before court and try and kick me off my daughter's file so that they can help her as they destroy her family and destroy and wipe out her son's mind and pollute it with drugs worse than my daughter has ever done. So we got to end it here. All right. Peace out.
Bye.